with another Who Woke the Savage. We hope that you enjoyed the last time that we were here. You know, I'm your girl, Miss Well and Woke, aka Day, and I'm here with my bestie, Miss Lady A Savage.
Yes,
And last week,
ma'am.
right, period, poo. So last week, as you guys know, we were talking about family dynamics and just the roots and branches behind some of the sources of stress, trauma, relationships, a lot of things that we deal with on a regular basis. And we wanted to start from the beginning. So today we're going to give you guys a little bit more of that conversation, but we taking it in another stilo, all right? So, Lady A, just
Yes,
what's
ma'am.
on your mind about this?
So I think what we need to do is we need to go back a little bit and talk about mending those relationships and how to mend those relationships without the apology that sometimes we feel we're expected. I feel like sometimes we feel like we're expected an apology to move on that we're not owed. And we have to learn how to do self-healing and self-help so that we can move on without those apologies. I can forgive you without that apology.
Something I was thinking about recently is that you have people who have long-term trauma that they've endured since they were kids, and sometimes their parents are the culprits,
Mhm.
right? And it used to be an expression that people utilize, like hurt people, and I feel like that's 100% accurate, right?
That's
We
fact.
look for apologies out of people who've never received apologies generations back, right? Who
Mhm.
apologize to mom and pops, who apologize to grandma and grandpa, who apologize to the people that came before it. It doesn't justify people mistreating you. I would never say that those like things that happen to people are sometimes unexcusable. At the same time, I feel like if you're waiting for some of your older relatives to give you that, you may be holding your breath for the rest of your life.
Forever, forever. And that's the thing. The thing is, we have to come to that point, like I was saying, where without the apology, I can forgive you, I can understand, and still move on for my own benefit. So it doesn't hold me back. You have a lot of people that their trauma, their childhood trauma is holding them hostage because they're waiting on this apology you may never receive.
But I understand those people to a certain extent, right? I think
Mhm.
that when we're learning to communicate, and I feel like we're a generation now, especially us as millennials, we're learning to have better effective communication styles, right? So now we're sitting down with some of our older relatives and we're able to communicate that's wrong. That wasn't okay. What I witnessed, what I experienced, what I went through wasn't okay with me. And since we're learning that style of communication, we're expecting for a lot of the older generation to catch up with us and to automatically understand. They're not where we are. And I feel like
That is
that
true.
plays out in a lot of different relationships. If I expect you to be where I am in my healing journey, that's unfair of me because
It
I
is.
may have made my peace. I may have acknowledged the things that were done to me that have put me at a pass or at a stopping point. And now I may be ready to tell you what you did, but that doesn't mean that you're willing to hear it. That doesn't mean you understand it,
Mhm.
nor are you ready to apologize for it, right? For every person who has been wronged, there's another person who's committed that action who may not be aware of what they did that was wrong,
Mhm.
you know? And I think that we have to start looking at it in a different capacity because we are holding ourselves hostage. We are stopping ourselves from that growth that we need to have by moving forward, accepting that even though somebody has done something to you, no matter what it is, you have survived that experience.
You survived it. You survived it. So how do we move on without, like you said, that without, like I was saying, without that apology? But like you said, we're in two different generations, so that's the thing as well. But at the same time, we have to take time for that self healing, and that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had to get to a point in my life where I don't expect it, right? One of
Mm-hmm.
the best pieces of advice that I've ever had, hands down, was I was like, you know what? Like, I told this person that they did something to me, and I feel like I've explained it to them more than once, more than twice, more than three times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, y'all know that expression that J. Cole said, like, screw the peace sign, load the chopper, and let it rain. I'm one of those people. After you fool me once and fool me twice, I'm loaded the chopper up because I feel like I'm at that point where I'm deserving an explosive reaction. If I feel like you keep doing the same thing and I've explained to you your pattern of behavior, now I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I hold the right to respond the way that I need to. I had to grow up and grow out of that. I had to grow up and
Definitely.
grow out of that.
But you
You did me
know what?
wrong once.
Sometimes,
You know, messed me over twice. I had to say, you know what, there's
Mhm.
something that I'm allowing you to do that I have to remove myself from. You're not going to say, take accountability. You may not apologize for what you did wrong to me. I got to own it myself, step away from you, reevaluate, and give myself the needed attention
but
that's not going to
sometimes,
come from you owning up to it.
sometimes in the example that you gave, we have to take accountability too, as a person that know who you're dealing with. Sometimes we act like we don't know who we're dealing with, and we know. You know what you walked into. You know the person that you're dealing with. You know whatever, and it shouldn't take, like you said, 3, 4 times. I'm now at that stage. The first time we have to have an understanding, and then after that, I don't expect you to be what my standards. If that's the case, you can do what you got to do for you. But for me, this is what works for me, and it might not work for you, and that's fine. But we also have to take personal accountability, to say that sometimes we give people too much leeway.
You know, I'm gonna give an example of, I don't know if you ever seen this movie. You ever seen the movie Woman Thou Art Loose? Right?
Oh,
With
yes,
Kimberly,
ma'am. Yes,
right?
ma'am.
That's a big one, right? And that movie bust me up when I first saw that back in the day. I was like, it was like a head trip. And the reason why I say that is because it classically points out a young girl experiencing abuse. It's impacted her entire life. Took
Mm-hmm.
her from childhood to adulthood, right? And we basically see her mother say something that I really say stuck with me, which is that we all have our crosses to bear and our dresses to wear, right? She basically was like, we all have our trials and tribulations. Who ain't go through bullshit growing up? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what you gonna do, sulk? And I was like, damn, that's the most mean spirited thing I think I've ever heard. But then when I really flipped it and paid attention to it, she was just like, look, I went through bad stuff and I may have allowed bad stuff to happen to you. There was
The
an
message
opportunity
was
in your growth
the
to
message was
heal from it,
given
and you was
wrong.
healing.
Yeah, the message
The
was
message was
given wrong,
wrong.
but the message was still what the message was. She could have delivered it better.
She could have delivered. It was cold. The
Yeah, it was
message was
cold.
like that shit
It
was.
was cold,
I was like,
but
whoosh, you
you
wanted to get
understood
it
the
shaken
message
with that
later
one.
on.
But then I had to, like, I sat with it. I really did sit with it. And I was like, no, many people experience some type of trial or tribulation or hardship throughout their time growing up,
Mhm.
right? And like I said, a lot of the times when you're a child, you are innocent in that process. You don't deserve a lot of the negative shit that you experience and encounter. But if that is your excuse at 50 and 60 and 70 as to why life did not go in the direction that you expected it to go in, you allow for that to happen. I work with kids across the spectrum. I've worked with kids who've had beautiful stories that went from having hardships growing up in foster care that have made miracles and magic happen within their lives just by reading more, learning more, finding mentors, pay attention, putting themselves in more positive situations and around better groups of people,
Mhm.
things that you will yourself to do that can change it around. I have people in my life and friends and family who have lost their parents, right? Whatever beef you may have had with them when you're younger, you may not even be able to resolve some of those conflicts as an adult.
That's
So
true.
I feel like if it's holding you hostage, you're waiting for something that you undoubtedly know you may never get. Don't make that the thing that holds you into that space that doesn't allow you to grow beyond. So I feel
But see,
like in that
everybody
movie,
isn't at that point though. You have to.
you gotta get
It's a certain amount of. We had this conversation, but it's a certain amount of peace in you. It's a certain amount of growth that you're willing to take, where you have to be ready to admit that and take that and do the work on that. And we've had that
you gotta grow to that
conversation.
point. But you know what? My whole thing is like it starts with baby steps. Like I said, you first have to acknowledge things for yourself. Introspection is always key. I feel like that's the biggest thing that I bump to everybody. If you can't self-reflect and come to some level of understanding, some inner peace, then you can't expect that to have a positive conversation or positive interactions with other people about this. Sometimes getting something off your chest is just enough to be able to heal through something. Being able to talk through it, work
Yeah.
through it, allows you to move forward. So I feel
But
like if you can say to somebody like, you know what, you hurt me, but I'm not going to allow you to have power over me, that's affirming enough.
true.
That
But like I
whether or
said,
not you
somebody.
say, I did that to you, my bad, I got it off my chest. I had to get that out of my system. I can't carry that on my back anymore.
But you can't expect you from others.
You can't, right? And I feel like I said that's a part of a growth journey. Not only I, but a lot of people are going through. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You when you get to a certain age, you learn to let certain stuff roll off your shoulders. And if you don't,
Yeah.
I wish people that inner peace. Because
Yeah.
as you get older, who has time to stress, trip out, crash out, concern themselves with all of those things that have they've endured in the past,
But you
right?
have some people that are
Depression
still
is
in that
rooted.
place though, and
Well,
that's
you
the
know,
thing. You have some people that are still in that place that
I say
are
this like
still. I'm sorry. You have
anxiety is
some
rooted for
people that are still. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was like, anxiety is rooted for people who have fear of the future and concerns about what's going to happen. Depression, a lot of the time, stems from people who are living in past experiences that continue to trigger and re traumatize.
Hmm.
So I feel like those are two spaces that you don't want to be in. You don't want to fear what's to come, and you don't want to be weighted by what happened in the past. You want to exist in a present space.
Understand that. Like I said, you make valid points on that, but everybody's not there. And
So,
it's
what do
the
you
question is
feel
how.
like?
The question is how do we get there?
Okay, so I mean, one, and I have like realistic conversations. I know that some people engage in therapy, but it may not be something that works for everybody. Some people engage in religious counsel, but it may not be for everybody.
Mhm.
I strongly advise people to have a self care plan. Like,
Yes.
you have to find things that allow you to vet your emotions properly.
Hmm.
Like, I'm a journaler, right? And I mean, I may
Or
not do it the same way every time I do it. It may not be pen to paper. Sometimes it's just jotting down some thoughts or
mm,
feelings or things that I have going on simply in my cell phone, whatever have you. I think that expressing what's bothering you is the best form of communication. Because like I said, if you're bent on waiting for people to understand you all the time,
mm,
you are going to miss the mark every time. Like, no one is
that's
going
right.
to handle a situation quite like how you do, right?
But
So I
some
feel
people
like we're expecting.
I know for me sometimes it's like self isolation. Like you said, I'm a journaler as well. I journal, I do all those things. But for me, sometimes it's self isolation. And when I mean isolation across the board. No phone, no social media, no none of that. Like you need to put yourself in this headspace of kind of just sitting with yourself. Sometimes I don't feel like people sit with their self enough. Sometimes people don't take care of their self enough. They don't have enough self love, self care, self everything. And you have to sit with yourself.
The
Everything
reason why people
everybody
the
gotta go.
reason why people have an issue with self isolation is because that background noise is going to kick up. Sometimes when you sit long enough with yourself, you don't like what approaches. You don't like what comes up. You don't like to think
That's
about
but
some of the
that's
things
what
that
you but
hurt
that's
you.
what you gotta attack. You gotta attack what comes. What comes, handle that. Face it. Face it right then and there. You have to. And some people ain't ready for that, but you have to. Because that self-isolation, that's what you need. Sometimes you need to knock out everything that's around you and deal with you and you alone. Because like I told you before, without you, if you are not okay, nothing else is going to move correctly.
100%. Learn to give yourself your own like congratulations. I said celebrate yourself.
Mhm.
Love on yourself. Be able to hug on yourself. And like I said, sometimes the biggest apology that I've given is to myself. Why'd you allow yourself to enter in that situation? You knew better. Like I said, I've owned certain things to myself, like just outright. I was like, you know what? That may have gotten to you. You may have handled that situation wrong. My bad, sis. We're going to do better next time. And I said, just being able to take that accountability for my own actions has been something that has been beneficial to me.
Mhm.
At the same time, like I said, even if it's no fault of my own, I've been able to say, you know what, I won't allow this person to infiltrate anymore. I won't allow this situation to continue to be a
But
hindrance in my own
you know,
success.
I tell people all the time though, it's okay not to be okay. And I think that's what people don't want to accept sometimes. It's okay to be okay, and it's okay not to be okay. And I tell people sometimes sit in that pain. You have to. Sometimes you gotta sit in that pain. You have to sit in it. You have to understand it. You have to reevaluate it. And it's okay not to be okay in that
Because you
moment.
can't go. I think that too many people, like, you try to go over a situation, under it, and around it. And like you said, the only way to deal with something is sometimes
It's
to go
through it.
through it.
Through it.
You got to
You
go
have to go
straight through
through
the
it.
situation. Like, and I know it's hard because when we talking about mamas and daddies, like I said, a child's first love and first interaction in this world is their parents. That's like one of the biggest relationships that kids ever foster. And sometimes that
Mhm.
relationship is sullied from the time we came into this world. You have people who were born into chaos, born into trauma, born into, like the unknown, right? And the
That's right.
reality of that is that there's no handbook, there's no special way, or there's no lesson on how to be a perfect parent. And I
You
feel
know
like
what? I
because they're
literally just
raised
had
by
a
people,
conversation. I
yeah, like,
literally just had a conversation with somebody today that just said that they was like, "It's no handbook. It's nothing to teach you how to be a parent, how to move, how to do any of this. So you have to give some form of understanding because it's no guidebook. It's nothing out here that you can put in the self-help section to tell you how to be a parent. It's your first time, and you moving around with it."
a lot of people, you have to be able to extend grace. And
Yeah.
I said this to some of my younger clients. They're like, why doesn't my mother understand, or why doesn't my father get what I'm going through? And let me explain this. We all handle certain situations differently, like I said, based off of the people who make up our world, right? Grandmas have historically been different parents to their children than they are to their grandchildren, right? You've had plenty of people say, like, my grandmother loved on me, hugged on me, kissed on me, but she wasn't like that towards my mother.
Mm-hmm.
She raised her with a different type of energy than how she interacts with her grandchildren. I've heard people talk about that intergenerationally many, many times. Like, how come I got a different interaction with this person? Every 10 years that we are on this earth, we change and we manifest into new people. We completely
That's
shift
right.
our mindsets. We become a new version of who we are. So some of the wrongdoings that we may have engaged with in the past, we're not going to continue to do the same thing. Some people may be stuck like that, but the average person continues to grow and build. So you can't hold people to who they were when you met them 10 years down the line. When your mama was younger and she was figuring it all out, she made mistakes. Your daddy was grown up, younger, he made some mistakes. Now,
But
is he still going to make them at 60, 70, 80 years old? Hell yeah, because people are human. But you would hope that over time, everybody has those moments that allows them to grow, to learn, and to re-engage a different way.
but the fact of the matter is, the part that we all have to understand is they don't, and that's the part that we have to understand. Everybody does not have that growth at the same time. Everybody does not have that awakening at the same time.
Like, I used to watch movies and hear people say, like, those, like, deathbed apologies. Like, it's
Oh,
always when somebody's waiting those last minutes to leave the earth before they start telling the truth.
telling
Like,
it all.
I'm aware of what happened to you when you were younger. I'm sorry that this went down. And it's too many people that get those, like, deathbed apologies. And I feel like it's crazy. Like, I feel like whether you have that moment with an older person or a relative or somebody who wronged you, an ex-husband, an ex-partner, whatever, I feel like those are those moments that, although you may feel like it fills you with some level of solace, I feel like there's so much pain that still endures after that.
It is.
It opens up a can of worms. I don't feel comforted about somebody telling me sorry when they're getting ready to leave
When
this
you
world.
when you
I didn't
on
even
your
get a
last
chance to react
call,
right.
you on your last call, and now you sitting up here telling me you're sorry. No, it's not gonna sit well with me.
It'll rock with me.
You had
You know
all
what I'm
this
saying?
opportunity. No, you on your last call for just one
I,
more, and you, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
that's that's what I'm saying. I gotta heal before you kick the bucket. I gotta make my peace before it's time for you to go out of here. So in those moments, whatever you say to me, it doesn't shake me the same way. I'm not as rattled by
But
that
that's why I
moment.
said, but that's why I said we have to get to a point where it's like our healing isn't on somebody else. Yes,
It's
these
not.
things
It's a,
happen. Yeah,
mhm.
yes, these things happen. Yes, I know childhood trauma has happened and different things like that. But I can't sit up here and sulk in this position, sit in this area where I'm doing this and lashing out, and I do this because of this, and I do that because of that, because I sat up here and I have not forgave you for something like you said I may not never get for somebody, or you may be on your last cough before you give it to me. No.
I'm gonna
And
tell you
that's why
something
it's one
right
of
now.
those things where some people have to forgive. You have to forgive with for you. Forgive for you. Like people say all the time. Sometimes you gotta forgive for you. You're forgiving for you, for your self help, for your mental, for your everything.
We just hit to a new year, right? And there's a thing that I do, like it's like decluttering, right?
Okay.
I do a massive dump. Every year that comes around, I take people out of my phone, out of my space.
Okay.
Don't gotta see your name, don't gotta see your information. I do a mass
Mm-hmm.
dump of people and removal. Certain things don't need to cloud your mental space, don't need to cloud your energy or anything. And it has no love lost when it comes to other human beings. I root for everybody, all of us, all day.
So
But the
I'm
reality
not
of it is, I also do a removal. I feel like you gotta take a step back from a lot of things. And I feel like
mm,
anything that doesn't serve you, whether it's relationship shit, whether it's that t-shirt that got the little nick in it that you gotta throw out. Get rid of
I'm
everything that
not
no longer serves you to
I'm not
get
gonna
to
hold
that
you
good
though.
space.
I know me and you probably had this conversation, but I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm not one of the people that be like the New Year thing. Let me tell you, baby, I don't care if it's a Tuesday, okay? If I be in bed rubbing my ankles together trying to figure out who about to get blocked tonight, okay? That's my self-care right there. Trying to figure out who getting blocked tonight. Who is sitting up here going on the block list? Who's going on the you no longer have access to me list? And this happens 365 days of the year, baby. It ain't got nothing to do with the new year.
Let me
Okay, it's happening
tell you, I
today.
love that for you because I need to get there. I'm not even gonna lie.
Mm,
Like I have to get
baby.
to that point. I feel like the close of the year brings a lot of insight for me. I did something that I typically do. Like I always vision board at the turn of every year. I believe in
Mm-hmm.
manifesting my blessings. Believe in bringing positive energy in my direction, and bringing in the new year in a prayerful manner.
Yeah.
That's me, right? But like I said, a part of that, I have to sit for a few days before the new year, just leading up, and figure out how am I going to go about my relationships a little differently. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said, sometimes that looks like you got to move past that. You got
Mm-hmm.
to get over that. You got to continue to heal through that. And when I say that's a time that I really do sit with it and consider, I weigh relationships, that allows me to do that dumping. Because throughout the year, like you said, you notice certain things, but certain shit don't hit until like I'm really sitting down with those end of the year days where I'm just like, you know what? That didn't serve you.
Let
That didn't work
me
for
say
you. There's
something.
been no growth in that relationship. That gotta go. Close it out and walk away
Baby.
from it.
Not me. Okay, let me tell you something. I don't even have to do an end of the year dump because I've been dumping motherfuckers all year.
Yeah.
All year. You've been getting dumped on all year. Okay, like I said, let me tell you, one of my best friends know that I do nothing but sit in my bed. Don't let it be a long day. Okay, I will sit in my bed, rub my ankles together, and be like, who is not serving me today? You're getting blocked. And I feel like that is a thing. I feel like sometimes people get really stuck on this New Year thing, and I'd be like, no, this needs to be something that happens all the time. This don't even need to be a New Year thing. This needs to be a self-care. You are taking care of you and handling what you need to handle because you seen they was moving all year. You knew in January they was moving funny. It's December. You
They
knew in
should have been
January they was moving funny.
you was like January 2nd, they should have been clipped by January
Gone.
3rd.
By
God.
by January 30th. No, I ain't got nothing for you. No, out of here. You knew they was doing funny in March, but you had to wait till the new year to decide to clip them. No, not me.
That's true.
Not I.
I hear I hear that. some people, I feel like early on, you got to know when to walk away from a situation. I tell people relationships, and I want to define it for anybody who's listening, is not just a romantic relationship. It's a familial relationship. It's also a friendship, or peership, shit, even a co-workship, whatever you got going on.
Man,
Like, there are so many different types of relationships that you have to be able to evaluate these situations and
every
have a better
time,
understanding.
all,
Like,
all the
I tell
time,
people,
every time.
because they all collide, they all clash. How you get down with your family, you may navigate it one way. It travels into how you connect with your friends. It travels into how you connect with your partners. It travels into how
Hmm.
you connect with your coworkers. All of that shit collides.
Yes, that's
You
what I'm
know?
saying.
So,
Like, I'm trying to tell you, get to that point. When you get to that point, baby, don't nothing make me smile harder. You hear me? I'm smiling talking about it. Okay,
but
let me tell you something right
you know
now.
what?
When you get to that point,
It's a weighted thing. It's a weighted thing. Like, you know what? It's easier for me to
hmm,
get rid of someone that I felt like didn't, you know what? Didn't pour into my cup.
yes,
Didn't pour into my cup. To be perfectly honest, it's very easy to remove myself from people that I feel like there was no reciprocity in the relationship.
hmm,
When there's no balance, there's no reason to keep you in existence. I'll say it like that.
but you
There's
know,
no
you
reason to
have
have
some
people
people,
around where there's no yin and yang, there is no reciprocity.
that pour into your cup, but still don't want the best for you, and those are the ones you got to watch out for.
Let me tell you something right now. Don't pat me on my back and then turn around and spite me.
Don't turn around and slap me in the back
Nobody
of my
needs a
head.
hater like that. Friend, family, or foe. I don't give a fuck who you are. Nobody needs an inside hater. Like, that is the worst thing. There are so
That's
many
all
people
I'm
who will
saying.
quietly cheer for you, root for you, just so they can hope for your downfall. They watch you just to see you lose. I don't like those type of people. I agree with you. You have to be gone by January 2nd.
The
You can't
the
stay
second,
amongst
yes,
me any longer. But I'm one of those people that I also feel like it's okay to call certain shit out into the table. I
hmm,
feel like that's what, when we say, like, you're waiting for that friend to acknowledge what they did wrong, you're waiting for your partner to acknowledge what they did wrong. Baby, I'm gonna give you 2 times so we can have a conversation like this. Hey, I don't like it. You was moving like this. I observed it. And I just want to bring it to your attention. You're only gonna give it up one of two ways. You either gonna acknowledge it, you're gonna sit with it and move different. If neither two of those things happen, there's no point in us continuing a conversation on it.
that's a fact.
Because then I'm gonna move accordingly. And that's what I said. Sometimes you have loud exits and you have quiet ones. I growing up, I was a loud exit person. Man, fuck out of here. I'm not dealing with you no more. I'm not doing that no more. My
Oh,
quiet
baby.
exit is beautiful. My quiet exit is amazing. You won't even know. Like I
I'm
said,
gonna tell you
I have
something.
so much inner peace at
I'm
this point that I
moving
just
like a silent killer.
report.
You done talk to me on Monday, and you will never talk to me again. You will never talk to me again. You won't even see it coming. You just gonna turn around and be like, I haven't heard from you in months. Yup. And you
Yep.
still ain't gonna hear from me when you say something.
And
That's if you ain't
I
blocked.
don't And I don't want people to get it wrong because, like I said, when I say this, I have no love lost to anybody. I sincerely wish everybody the best. Even for those who did not do the best by me. Hope you all right somewhere out in the world. Ain't got nothing to do with
Right.
me, but I hope you all right somewhere out in the world. Because, like I said, it isn't harboring hate, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize this. Hate is a very powerful emotion to hold on to. So when you have negative feelings towards somebody, when you feel like, man, I can't stand this person, man, this person did something to me, I just
Mm.
wish, all of that shit zaps your energy.
I tell people
It
this
takes
all
away all
the
of
time.
the
I'm
good
like,
parts of you.
I tell people all the time. I'm like, this is why they say it's a thin love between a thin line between love and hate. Because the energy that you have to put into hating something is crazy. You put so much energy into hating something that you might as well say you love it. You love it here. Because that's how much energy you put into hating it. And nobody has that kind of energy. I will dislike something easily, not a problem. I dislike the way you did that. That did not rub me the right way. But to hate you is a whole different level that I don't have. I don't hate anybody. And I tell people, have I been through stuff? Have I have life doing me? Yes. But I wish everybody and everything moving the best. I wish you the best. I hope God holds you close. Not too close, but close enough that you're favored. And
That's it.
that's
Not
it.
close to me. You don't gotta sit next to me. But
You ain't
like I
got to sit
said,
next to me,
you know
but
what I'm
close
saying?
enough that you're favored. That's it. And I wish you the best because I don't have the energy to be sitting up here and hating you or hating on somebody because I don't got time to be blocking my own blessings like that. And that's what happens. You block your own
And
blessings. You sit up here
period.
and do that.
And and that's the reason why I say that if you're sitting around waiting for everybody who's ever done you wrong to give you that my bad, I did you wrong, you block your own blessings. You
Mhm.
take away so much from yourself. And I really hope,
For sure.
like I said, for those who are tuned in and who are engaged with us, like it's not a simple process. You're not gonna wake up and automatically the next night go, it clicks. You know what I'm
No.
saying? Like I forgive everybody. Because this is one thing I would never tell a person. You don't forget shit. Majority of the time in life, you do
Oh,
not forget.
baby,
Things
you
that
remember what
trauma,
somebody did to you at 99. You don't forget
that's a,
shit.
that's the reality. Most things that are stored in our memory, and this is just like I said, scientific facts. Like the reality is that trauma is stored not only in memory and body and mind. We hold on to painful incidents. You can remember the first time somebody pushed you off the seesaw before you remember the first time somebody gave you a hug. That's the reality. That's it. That's it. So I would never tell somebody, oh yeah, just forget about it. No, hell
That's
no. A lot of things
fine
that
at
you've
work.
experienced, you will remember. What I'm trying to get to a point where you can communicate those trials and tribulations. You can communicate the things that have happened to you, and it doesn't zap all of your energy and take away all of your
You,
power. There are times that I talk about things that happened difficult in my life, and people be like, "You speak about it very easily," and I was like, "I speak about it because it no longer has ownership over me. That's something
I can't
that
let it
happened
bound
to
me. I
me,
can't let it hold me
but that's
down.
not
I
gonna
can't.
hold me." Yeah,
Yeah, you can't let it bound you. You can't let it hold you down. I can speak about it because I went through it. Like I said, you sat through the pain. I went through it. I learned my lesson through it, and I can now talk about it. But I can't let it bound me to the point where I'm sitting up here moving in a way that doesn't benefit me, and where now I'm stopping my own growth. I'm not doing that.
I had an old friend say something to me that kind of shook me to my core, and the
Uh-oh.
person basically was like, you don't fall. And I said, everybody falls. What are you talking about? He
Everybody
was like,
falls.
well, he was like, for some reason, I constantly see you keep swinging. And I was like, well, that means that I fall, but I get up. And that's just the reality. I was like, for every lesson that I've learned, it's been a blessing that's followed it. So there's been hardships that have been followed by
Mm-hmm.
triumphs. And that's just how you got to look at a situation. When you've experienced some negativity or some controversy in this world, you have to learn how to move through and navigate
Some,
those situations and
sometimes I feel
experiences.
like, sometimes I feel like because um we don't cry about it and do this and do that, people assume that we don't get knocked down. And I feel like that's what it is because we have learned to cope and to move and to forgive and all these steps that we're talking about. I feel like sometimes people feel like, oh, we don't get knocked down, but we've been down, but we refuse to stay down. That's what it is. I'm not staying down there. I don't got time to stay down. I got to get back up. I don't have
Let me
time
tell
to stay there.
I came to a conclusion, and this is, I by all means, this may not work for everybody, but it works for me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that I have open conversations about. When something impacts me, no matter what
Mm-hmm.
it is, whatever's waiting on me, I give myself 24 to 48 hours. I can shout about it, cry about it, kick about it, scream about it. I can punch whatever wall, break whatever I need to. I can vet it whatever way that I have to. But on the 48th hour, I must get up and do something different. I must re engage. I must find a way to move forward.
So
And
you
so
know
I
what's
tell
crazy?
people, no matter what it is, I give myself that time frame. Do whatever you got to do to get it out. But after 48th hour, get your ass up and do
You
something
know what's
different.
crazy? I give myself 3 days. I'm three. I give myself three. I give myself 3 days to do whatever I got to do. What, like you said, whether it's cry, shout, scream, run around, cuss, fuss, and everything else. 3 days. 3 days is my max. If I don't want to see nobody, hear from nobody, do nothing. 3 days. After 3 days, I got to get out the house. I got to move. Life has to continue.
You have to move
Back to
forward.
business. Business,
And
back
I
to
tell people,
business as usual.
I'm not saying that something that happens in your life is never going to shake you or rattle your cage again,
Mhm.
because as human beings, there are things that can trigger you, that resurface those same negative feelings, those same bad vibes. But the reality of it is, you learn how to process it. You learn how to get to the good place, to engage in your self-care plan and your routine that takes you away from that negativity. So like you said, in that 24 to 48, so like you said, that 72 hours, if you kicking, crying, screaming, breaking, shouting, yelling, and you getting it
Mhm.
out, you vetting your emotions, do that. But you
Facts.
gotta get to the good place after that. You gotta tell yourself, 72 hours in, 48 hours in, I have to get up and I have to try for something else. If I'm still crying on this day, I gotta make an action plan. And I tell people, if you find yourself crying 3, 4, 5 days in a row and you're comfortable in that space, don't be. Don't
Mhm.
be. Because like I said, complacency is the worst place that you can sit in. Don't get comfortable being in a bad spot. Try to figure out next steps. Ask somebody, talk to somebody, call somebody, and try to set up a space where you can work on that healing and move forward.
Well, friend, it's savage time.
Ah, okay, savage question time.
Savage question time. So the savage question of the day is, do men need to leave for a relationship to be successful?
Okay. I got my wine right now. I need to have a little sip of it on this one. You know, you and I both are people who grew up with religious instruction, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'll say this. Biblically, I had always been told that a man is supposed to be the head of a household, right?
Okay.
And I understand when people say that. I really do. At the same time, I believe in balance and reciprocity. I believe that the same way they say a woman came, was made out of the rib, and all of that good stuff that we learned, if you was a Sunday school type of baby, I hear all of that. But I think between men and women, we both have to be contributors to have a healthy relationship. I can't follow someone who doesn't know how to lead and order their own footsteps. You don't know how to move your life forward. You don't know how to handle your business. Your finances is in the toilet. You barely know how to get up and make your own bed and take care and wash your own ass. Why am I following behind you? You ain't gonna
That's
lead
all
me
I'm
nowhere good.
saying. Here's how I feel. Just like in a car, if the driver gets tired, we got to switch out. Okay. Sometimes it will come to a point where, yes, you can lead and you're doing a good job. But you know what? Right now, how you're moving, we might need to switch. So I don't feel a man has to leave for being successful. Now, here's the thing. Is it, do you want that? Like you said, because of how we grew up in different things? Yes. Would you want a man that can lead and do all those things if he's in the right sound body and mind? For sure. But guess what? Everybody at times don't have that 100% to give. And it's okay, baby, if you don't. Let me step in for a second and guide us in the path we need to go to. And then when I get tired, you can go ahead and pick it up too, boo.
Yeah, because I want a man not only who leads but can be led. People don't understand the two concepts, right? It's that role reversal. I expect at times that you can pour into me and give instruction, and I'm able to receive it. At the same time, if I'm pouring into you and I say, hey, maybe you should take this in consideration, everything that I'm contributing is just as valuable. That's the whole idea. In a relationship, is there an essential a leader? We all lead at different times because sometimes you have a different knowledge base. If you shine in a certain way and you're able to give instruction, I'm more than likely to follow you because you know more about that than I know
But you
about it.
can't ask
But
for
if there's an
submission if you
area,
slacking. You can't ask
you,
for
you
submission if you slacking.
now that's the whole thing when women talk about the concept of submitting. And I've heard this. Let me tell you, I'm a troll on the internet sometimes because I'm one of those people that when people put
Okay.
up relationship threads or whatever the case is, I'm in the paint, I'm in the comment section, I'm going off, I'm the person that got the 20 comments. Everybody's like, yeah, girl, I heard you on that one. Because I have this concept around the thought of submitting to whoever you feel is the leader of a relationship is like people feel like taking a step back, like you're putting yourself behind or beneath somebody. And I feel like that I can never play that role. I am a natural born leader. I can only have somebody co-lead with me. There's only a king that could be beside me and I could be beside him. The idea of saying that I have to submit to me just says that I have to put myself underneath a situation in the back seat. Just because I know when to play my part, I know when to take a step back, like any good leader does. Any good leader knows when it's time to remove themselves, when it's time for somebody else to be on assignment. You don't have to submit to somebody blindly and trust that they gonna take care of it 100%. There's too many things that we watch, especially in relationships, where I'll be like, girl, you're gonna let that brother lead you off a cliff. Sis, you're gonna let
the cliff
that brother
and
lead you
down the
to your
hill.
lights going on. Fella, I'm gonna
But
say
that's
this
why
right now.
that's why I was saying, like, it's about who's at that sound body and mind right there. Sometimes you guys switch leaders out. So I don't believe a man has to lead by himself for us to go in the right path. Because sometimes you're going to be off. You're going to be off, and it's okay. And that's why they say, yeah, like a man is nothing without a woman, because you need that. You need that guidance somewhere, and that's where a woman comes into play.
I feel like that's what, and the ideas around partnership, men and women need each other.
Yes.
Like I said, men and women need each other. People got to stop all of that bullshit. I don't know. These girls out here, these guys out here, all that shit is crap. It's crap. We all live longer, happier, healthier lives with companionship, with having healthy relationships. It's an essential. Like, people have to come to terms with that. You know what I'm saying? I really, honestly, I love Black men. And I'm saying this is a special caveat to Black men for whoever's listening, who's ever watching. I love Black men because I believe
Black
in pouring,
men.
right? I believe in pouring into my people. 110%. But I love you enough to check you. And
that's a fact.
A lot of people don't like it. I love you enough to check you. I'm gonna call you on your bullshit. And I will hold no bars and no hesitations around doing that, because nobody's gonna pour into you or love you in that same regard. And by telling you the honest to God truth.
Telling you the truth. Telling you that you're a king, walk in your purpose, do what you need to do. And that's the thing. As a Black queen to a Black king, we're trying to we gonna check you, because the same way I want you to check me for me to walk into my purpose.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't want no man who just let me out here fly by night. Like, one of the things that I always admire about older couples, right? They said a type of man where if your hair is out of place, that brother who will tuck that hair right behind your ear. Don't let your woman walking around here looking crazy.
Lipstick on it.
I'm not
no, none of that shit. Yeah, thanks.
You know what I'm saying? Move right. And as I said, that's what I consider the true definitions of somebody being a leader. Because like I said, in effort for someone to feel comfortable underneath your leadership, you have to exhibit certain qualities that allow me to feel that we are being safe, we are being heard, acknowledged, considered, and also being taught. Who wants to be led by somebody who is not teaching them something worth learning? 100, when I say this, like, worth learning. I cannot let somebody come and be the leader of my relationship if, like I said, your finances are in the toilet. What am I supposed to do with that? Last I get on the struggle bus with you, not fitting to do it. And it doesn't mean that I'm making you you're not financially responsible for me. I think that people misconstrue those concepts, and when they hear that the man is supposed to be the leader, it means the man is supposed to have all of the money and make all of the decisions and pay all of the bills. I'm not saying that. That may work for some people, but it don't work for everybody.
Sure.
What I feel is that it should be one of those balanced situations where if you can teach somebody a skill, teach them. If we can improve each other and work with each other so that we both rolling, we both making money, we both handling business, we both looking our best and feeling our best.
The goal is to help each other grow.
It's growth.
It's growth. Help each other grow.
Without growth. Like I So anything that you encounter with anybody that you encounter, anybody that you invest time in, it should be a growth mindset that exists.
Mm-hmm.
That's like word of the day, growth mindset. Use
Growth.
that for the new year. I tell everybody, have a growth mindset.
That's a fact. Well, friend,
But
I would like to thank
it's about the
everybody that commented, came in, took the time out to view us. I'm Lady A Savage.
and it's your girl, Miss Well and Woke, aka Day. And just thank you for joining us. And if you want to catch up with some of this conversation because you didn't get a chance to join all of it today, we're also streaming this on YouTube. So you can find this Miss Well and Woke YouTube page. You can also follow some of this content on the Miss Well and Woke Facebook page. You can also join Lady A Savage on our TikTok page. Find us wherever we are
Yes.
distributing content.
You
Comment,
can
like, share, repost.
subscribe, everything. You can find me on Lady A TikTok, Lady A Savage Instagram, and Lady A Savage on YouTube. By all means, also you can find it on my girl Miss Wellenbook page as well. Please take that time. We appreciate everybody that tuned in and commented, liked, and everything else. We appreciate you so much, and we love each and every one of you.
Yes, Royals, we love y'all for free. So have a great night, y'all.
Yes.